Welcome to another edition of GoPowerCat.com's Power Chat. I am publisher Tim Fitzgerald from here in the WTC Gig Powered Studios. Well, the big news this month with the Power Chat is now all of this month's editions as well as past editions are now free for viewing for all Kansas State fans at both GoPowerCat.com and our YouTube channel. We kick off this mini season of the Power Chat with Kansas State defensive coordinator Scottie Hazelton, who just completed his first year in Manhattan, and after 21 seasons, this is his 11th stop in the coaching profession, and it looks like he might be here for a while. We are sponsored by Blue Mark Energy, so let's get after this thing. Here is Scottie Hazelton with the Power Chat. Welcome to another edition of the Power Chat here at GoPowerCat.com. We're sponsored by our friends at Blue Mark Energy, and we're sitting in the WTC Gig Powered Studios. And you may recognize the man, you certainly recognize the beard, Scottie Hazelton with us. How you doing, Coach?
Good.
This is, quote, your downtime.
Yeah.
It's not really downtime, though. You do get some vacation, though.
Yeah, a couple days.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll be sweet.
Thanks, Coach Snyder. People always made a lot of it. That's true at any staff. You don't really have a downtime. You cycle through recruiting, and then you got to get ready for spring football, and then you're into the spring, and you get these little tiny windows.
You do, and then you spend as much time as you can with your family in that time. So it's okay.
Anything planned?
Not for this one. Took my wife to Jamaica right after season because we had that little break before the convention, and then this one it'll just be hang out with the kids, go actually see them do their sports and stuff. I got a chance to see my oldest son's basketball game on Sunday. So
you got 4, right?
Yeah, 4 kids.
What are the ages there?
2 girls, 14 and 12, and then 2 boys, 9 and 7. So
you're heavy into the sports age.
Oh yeah, all the little, and my wife, she's golden, you know.
I was gonna say, is your wife pretty much I hate to say the word phrase soccer mom, but she's probably shuttling kids all the time.
All the time. And you know, my mother-in-law lives with us too, so she's on duty also.
That's good.
Yeah, like, you know, well, like on Sunday, you got this one starting at 3:30 and this one at 4, and they're miles apart. So
that's good.
Yeah, split them up. Yeah, it's fun.
Good. Grew up in Colorado.
Correct.
Thornton.
Yep.
Just north of Denver, right?
Just north of Denver.
That sounds like a good place to grow up.
It is a good spot. You know, a lot. You know. Climate like here, so it's not that much different.
Yeah, people think it's different, but it's not.
No, it's not much different. You know, went to Horizon High School. It's a good time.
Good time. Played a little football, of course.
Yes.
What took you to Fort Lewis in Durango?
Well, you know, it was really my dad. My family history is everybody just graduates high school and joins the Marines, and then you figure out what you're going to do with your life after that. And I was kind of on the track to do the same thing, and coaches would come through and start recruiting, and I really didn't want to have anything to do with them. And he was like, "Well, just go play ball for a little while, and then maybe you'll get a degree, and then you can go in as an officer, and you get paid more." And I was like, "Okay." So, you know, I ended up going on a couple trips and really loved it up there. You know, there's mountains, you know, there's hunting and fishing all around, so it was an easy transition and good place to live for a few years.
Marine, you have family of Marines, but you're in Colorado. How did that work out?
Well, and my dad, like I said, you go enlist and then you do your time, and then he actually I was born in Jersey.
Oh, okay.
You know, we were right on the edge of Pennsylvania, and he was putting pipe in the ground, and then when all the steel mills shut down and stuff like that, everyone goes where they can find a job. And there was a guy that he knew that was kind of a relative, and moved to Denver. My mom's brother had a tire place, and so we moved out there and started working for the tire shop. So it was.
I'm now trying to think of you if you'd grown up in Jersey with a Jersey accent.
I had one when I moved to Colorado.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, a little East Coast accent.
Yeah.
I couldn't say bird. Bud. I can't remember what I said. Pocket cod, stuff like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fort Lewis, I don't know anything about Fort Lewis. I mean, what kind of football program did it have? I know it changed mascots way too many times.
Yeah. It changed mascots when I was there.
Yeah.
Actually, we were the Raiders.
What was the problem with the Raiders?
Cavalry, that's what they called the cavalry there.
Yeah, but why did they change to Skyhawks?
Well,
as opposed to the Landhawks?
The cavalry guy, I don't know, he had a sword and, go around and
so it was
Native
violent.
Americans didn't,
It was violent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't appreciate that, so we changed.
So they were
to
kind of on the
Skyhawks.
cutting edge of political correctness.
Correct.
In Western Colorado.
Correct.
Not something I would expect.
No, but it's a pretty liberal school, so it's
interesting.
They were.
So you're out there, and you immediately get into coaching. You just right? You transition from playing to coaching.
Yeah. Well, what happened is I played. I didn't redshirt. We were bad enough that I got a chance to play. My freshman year. And I'll say it like that because I don't think I was that good of a player. To really do that. But we were a poor enough team that I did that. And then my sophomore year I started. I think we were in the 4th or 5th game. We were down in Texas and Angelo, and I blew out my knee for the first time.
Lovely.
Yeah. So. And, it was different back then. I still don't have a ligament because they just didn't repair some things.
Right.
They fix your ACL and say, your MCL will be fine. Your PCL, you don't need it anyway. We'll cut out your meniscus, and you don't need that anyway. And you can play bone on bone. You'll just run.
Yeah, that works out well when you get older.
It does, right? That's why I blame it on that. That's why I gained so much weight, because I can't jog anymore. But really, I don't like to do that either. And then... My junior year, I came back. I played for a while, hurt my knee again. Went through the whole deal. So, they kind of the doc said, I think you're really done. You're really not going to be able to run. And you can't run anymore. I mean, at a decent speed, I could be on the team and, play, but I wouldn't. Something. Yeah, I wouldn't be good anymore. So I actually went down to join the Marines at that time, and then they said, no thanks, thanks, but no thanks. Yeah, they said you can't play college, you can't do, and at that time they were just like, well,
you're barely 20 years old and you're a broken down old man.
I know. So Gus, my position coach, talked me into, he said just hang out and be a student coach with us, set up drills, whatever for the spring, and I started doing that, and as we went along, it kind of just stuck. And I started that way, and then the next season I did the same thing, and then, our head coach got let go after that season. I think we won like 4 games or something, and Gus became the head coach.
Oh, nice.
And that's when I got my first real job, I guess. So.
Is his real name Gus, or is that just a football coach name?
That's a football coach. His name Casey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Gus sounds like a football coach.
It is.
I don't mean to be critical, but I noticed that you started, in 92 or something?
I started school in 92.
And you got your degree in 97?
Yeah.
You took your time on there, didn't you?
Well, sometimes you're busy, especially I was coaching for a little while, it took me a while.
How quickly did you realize this? I like this.
Well, I really was lost for a while. I didn't know what else I was going to do. And, I started coaching, and it was fun. It was something to do. Got me through, got my degree.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know if I would have got my degree.
Good point.
And after a while, it was like, well, I don't really know if I'm going to do this. I started looking for jobs, but, once again, everybody was like, hey, come here. You got 3 classes left. You take these 3 in the spring, you're graduated, and you got a minor, and you take enough oddball classes that all of a sudden you got a major and a minor, and you're like, oh, okay, great. That's
sounds good.
That's great. Yeah, sure. So I did, and then I don't know. It just I don't know. It was just what I was doing, so I just kind of kept doing it, And
then you started moving.
Then I started moving.
We were joking before we started that I counted up. You're on your 11th stop in 21 years.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. 1, you got married, and 2, you had time for 4 children. I don't know, packing bags, unpacking.
Yeah.
What I know that's not the plan, but that's kind of the life that you get into at times with coaching, isn't it?
Yeah, you do. It's too bad. I mean, it's it becomes such a deal where it's, people, you get fired, and then you got to go get a job, and then, someone will call that's got a better job, and it's really hard to stay in one place for a long time anymore at any level.
Right.
I mean, you look at, the turnover in the NFL to
It's crazy.
Division III, it's all the same. It's either you're successful and you move, or you're unsuccessful and you get fired and you have to move. So it's hard to stay someplace very long.
I'm struck by the fact, though, that when you left Fort Lewis, you went on as a grad assistant to North Dakota State. Was that kind of as looking back now, old wise Scottie thinks that was kind of life-changing to end up there at that place?
Well, it was. I mean, you don't, God kind of controls your plan a lot,
Right.
but I don't, and it really, I got talked to. Gus is a dude that could sell ice to Eskimos, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the best in the world at selling things, and he recruited me to go up there and be a GA, and hey, this staff's gonna move to here, and we're all gonna have jobs, and then when we move to Division I, you get a chance to walk right in, and so, yeah, hey, I'll go up there and do that, and really, that's where I met my wife, so it ended up good for me, I actually got offered a job after my first year being a GA there, and was batting it around, and had just turned it down, to be a D2 coordinator, and I met my wife like the next weekend, and kind of changed the whole deal. Yeah, so
Good job on that.
Yeah, she's.
Isn't
a
it
good
weird looking back at one little decision, you do it differently, and how everything changes?
Everything changes. Yeah.
St. Olaf, Missouri Southern, Michigan Tech. You ran through some schools there in a short period of time.
Yes.
Anything stick out about those stops?
I think every stop has its blessings for you. I took a job at St. Olaf after I couldn't get any other jobs. How about that? So you get offered a couple jobs and you stay as a GA, and then when you're done being a GA, you can't find a job.
Right.
And I met some really good people, good coaches along the way that kind of mold you into different things as you go through all the different stops. And once again, you say you don't know why you're there sometimes, and sometimes it's hard, and you don't have any money, you're trying to make a life with a family, a brand new family and stuff like that, and it's hard, but all those things kind of built our family up to what it is, kind of made me who I am.
Yeah, you kind of, like you said, pick up pieces along the way that all fit together at some point, and you're like, oh, that's why I was
That's right. Hey, I look back and I say, hey, it all makes sense, but at the time I'm like, God, I don't know if we can do this much longer,
Yeah. I told Coach Mehdi when he was in here, he's came through St. Joe. He went to college in St. Joe, Missouri, and that was my first professional journalism stop. And I remember at the time thinking, why the hell am I in St. Joe, Missouri? Well, that's Coach Snyder's hometown. So eventually it all kind of worked out. I understood when I talked to Coach Snyder about where he grew up. I'm like, I know exactly where that is. I know exactly. So all those things kind of fit together.
It does.
You go back to North Dakota State in 2007.
Correct.
And that's when things kind of, that's, you said you met your wife there. That's starting to feel like home then.
Yeah.
And you were there for what, 4 years?
Yeah, 5.
5?
Yeah. Yeah, I was.
Coach, that's a stretch for you.
It is. It's the longest time. I was D-line coach for 3 years, and then we made a change, and I became defense coordinator and moved to linebackers the last 2. So, and that's where I met Coach Kleiman.
Yep. And defensive coaches are defensive coaches. You've coached the secondary, line, and linebackers. You've done it all, right?
Correct.
And you should be able to do it all. That background as a coordinator has really got to help.
Yeah, it does. It helps just knowing. It's like living. It's it's kind of cool. It's like living in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, we're all a big country. Like we're defense together, but every area of the country you move to is completely different.
Right.
Really the subcultures are crazy, and to have worked with the different guys, it's like that on the the defensive tackles and the corners have nothing in common most time, but really their positions are the most technical and the most the little things matter the most there. Where you'd say, well, safeties and linebackers are similar, and D ends and linebackers. There's just different little subsets in there that you kind of understand when you worked with them all.
You were coordinator there 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. You hopped to USC. What brought on that change? It's USC. Yeah, I get it. But
yeah, it was a better job. You get a chance to move and really a lot of the guys. One of the biggest draws was the system that we run is the Monte Kiffin system. You know, all the guys that I learned it from, been around. You know, Gus worked for Monte Kiffin. Washer worked with Monte Kiffin. You know, and he was the defensive coordinator at USC at the time, and had an opportunity to get there. And I mean, that was great. You know, I mean, he's one of the best that ever coached. So as you get a chance to learn from him, it was a great experience for me, and you know, helps you grow and learn in the package even more. So it was great.
So let's clarify this. When you were at North Dakota State as coordinator, Chris Kleiman was your defensive backs coach.
Correct.
You were his boss.
Should I say we worked together? You know?
He eventually becomes, when you leave, he becomes coordinator.
Correct.
And did he steal your life by becoming coordinator after you?
No.
And then you should be head coach of Kansas State.
No, definitely
let's turn this on him.
No, you know what? I don't know that. I don't know that at that time, especially, I was head coach material. You know, you'd say, that was one of the things that, you know, it worked out like the way it's supposed to.
It does. It does. Nevada, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Correct.
Now that's an interesting stop. What took you to the NFL? Assistant linebackers coach.
Yeah, you know, I had a chance to go there. It was, I was D coordinator at Nevada. Good job with some really good guys. I mean, Rolo was there. You know, Brian Polonian was their head coach. They're great people. Yep. But to go back and Todd Wash is one of my closest friends in this profession, and he was coaching the D-line at Jacksonville at the time, and to be with him, and we were together. Actually, we were together at Fort Lewis. We were together at North Dakota State. We were together at Missouri Southern.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So my wife and his wife are great friends. Our kids hang out together. It's all, you know, all encompassing, and to go there and have a chance to go to the NFL was an attractive offer. So you go there and you get a chance to do that lifestyle for a little while. How
different are those lifestyles between college and NFL?
The season's long, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But the hours you work is all who you work for. You know, the off seasons is probably a better lifestyle there just because of the recruiting factor.
Right.
You know, I mean, you still travel, but you might travel and work out, 10 kids or something like that to see who you want to draft. But other than that, you never have to go anywhere. You know, you're good.
Plus, the players are pros.
They're pros.
It's their job.
It is.
And if they don't take care of their business, someone above you will take care of that.
Yeah, they might not be in your room the next week.
Yep.
And you might have a new guy that you don't even know who he is, and you start and teach him defense all over again.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But then you hop back into college.
Correct.
When Craig Bolt moves to Wyoming, right?
Yeah, a few years after he got there, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Wyoming. I've always been intrigued by Wyoming. It seems like a really cool place.
Yeah, it's a cool place up in the mountains,
Yeah.
It was really attractive. My dad passed away 4 years ago. So my mom and my dad moved up to Longmont, and they'd lived up there for a while. And Longmont's pretty close to Laramie. And Coach Bowl was at my dad's funeral. I've always stayed in contact with him, and we've always gotten along. And we weren't having that much success, and there's some turnover at Jacksonville, and go or stay, whatever the case is. And Craig called, and the future's unclear. The staff's pretty much staying. They're hiring. Gus is out, Doug's in. What's going to, and so that job came up, and it took me closer to my mom, and I think it was good for her too. I think she had a chance to come up and visit us on weekends and be around the kids, and she'd take them up to cabins and do she'd
awesome.
Take them all over and be a great grandma and do all the things that they do. So I think it was good for that time, and she's a really independent lady that she's in my idea, grandmas are old and they don't do it. She's like, hey, let's go on a hike and let's ride kayaks and let's do all so my kids, she takes them out and does some of that stuff, and and then this came up, and it felt like a good time. My mom's really independent, and she's got a bunch of friends down there, and she's doing well. So
awesome.
Get a chance to move away.
What was it about K-State that attracted you?
Really, at first it was Chris.
Of course, yeah.
In the coaching profession, sometimes we joke that there's head coach-itis. Guys who you worked with are they're great dudes. Like you hang out with them, you drink beer with them, you watch Super Bowl, everything's great, and you can be in a meeting room and talk trash to each other and tell each other how stupid your ideas are and stuff like that, and then they become the head coach and
everything changes.
Oh, instantly they're know-it-alls. They like their ideas are the only ideas that matter and stuff like that. And Chris is just a guy. He's a great dude. He's the same guy whether he is, I met him in like a Denny's in Iowa at one point. I can't even remember what town we were in, and we hung out and talked for a while. And he's the same guy then as he was when. He's the secondary coach at NDSU or the defense coordinator at NDSU or the head coach at NDSU or the head coach here, and it's uncommon, to have a guy just be a guy and be a normal dude who's.
I relate that to being secure and insecure. When you get the itis, you've got to kind of. I know I don't know as much as you, so I have to make you think I do. It doesn't work.
Usually
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, yeah.
But yeah, I think the best head coaches are, well, first of all, the best head coaches do know a lot.
They do.
And
they do.
But they also are open to other ideas.
Yeah, and I think that, the cool thing is he, he hires this staff and hired a bunch of good dudes, and our staff in our room is awesome to work with every day. But we're all paid to do a job, and we come in and we try to do the best we can at that job, and we try to see the issues that we have and the matchup issues or whatever the case is, and he understands those things, and he might throw in his 2 cents here and there, but really we're hired to do a job, and he lets us do our job, and that's cool, and that doesn't happen everywhere. You have an eclectic mix of coaches on that side. Different experiences that have all come together, and it just kind of like it fit. It's not like Seiler was on and then he left and Buddy comes in. It's just like this group seems to just have the right mix of guys. Yeah, I think it comes down to Coach really looked at it and said, hey, let's hire good teachers, good people, guys who are humble and don't. You can get into a room and things can get locked up. One guy wants to just do what he knows from when he was at XYZ school that worked there. We don't have that, So it's really cool because it's a deal where anyone can throw out an idea, you toss it around. If it fits in what you do, it's it's great, and use it. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. And how does it affect everybody else? And everybody understands that about their position. Like Van might want to do something that would change what the linebackers would do, so then it might not be something we do or whatever, or Tui might want to do something, so it's really good because everybody understands, man, they're trying to do the best by their position, but they also understand that how it fits into the whole scheme of things is very important. This,
I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but this kind of feels like this move had a little more permanence to it. You're now Power 5.
Hope so.
You're a defense coordinator. Chris, you had the 5-year deal, but didn't you guys go 8-5? And that's security in itself. That, you talked about the NFL. Those guys move a ton too.
Everybody.
Ton.
Let's be real. In this profession, everybody does.
Yeah.
So we joke all in our room all the time. How long do you think we can stay together? I don't know. How long is this room going to be this room? Who knows?
Yeah.
But I know this. For me, it's. I work and I go home, and I work and I go home, and the guys on the team, if they're good dudes, you like being around them. The guys that you work with in your room are really cool. But my family, they enjoy it here a ton. It's a bigger town than what we lived in Laramie. It's got everything you need. It's a town that accepted them completely. The community did. We move into a house and there's friends. Boys, go play with those 2 kids over there. They're good. Yeah, and it's a good family, lives by us, and they have a great time. So it's been a really good move for the family, and if they're happy, then it makes it easier to do your job and stay at work longer.
Doesn't matter what profession you're in. That's
true.
Very true.
That's true.
So, but Brooke likes it, right?
He does. Yeah.
Good. That's funny you say that about when you moved in. I had a neighbor move in. I think it was a summer ago, and he moved in. He's an officer at Fort Riley, and someone was mowing his lawn when they pulled up. And they go, hey, we don't need the lawn service anymore. We're new owners. He goes, no, I'm your neighbor. I'm your neighbor. Your lawn just needed it before you got here. I want to make sure you had a cut lawn before you moved in. And they're like, where the hell are we?
Hey, I mean, it's cool. I mean, that's my neighbor did the same thing before I got a mower. He was out running around, and I'm like, hey, yeah.
Yep.
I thought you needed a cut. It's good. It's getting long in the back. Great.
I know.
I'm good with
I'll
that.
be in my house one day, and I'll just hear my neighbor. He just wanders over the line, just starts doing my front yard. God, I love Kansas.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love Kansas.
It is cool. It's a great place.
Well, we'll get into K-State. I want to talk about some other topics, though, right after this break on this week's Power Chat. Welcome back to the Power Chat with Scottie Hazelton here in the WTC Gig Powered Studios, and thank you to our sponsor, Blue Mark Energy out of Tulsa. Good K-Staters. Coach, we talked a little bit about K-State, and I want to get back to K-State, but a couple of very important topics. First of all, when was the life decision to grow the beard? This is important.
This is a huge topic. Yeah.
It's a huge topic.
I was in Jacksonville, and I don't know. We were working some hours, and I didn't shave for a while.
And just kept going.
Sure.
How did Brooke feel about the beard at first?
I don't know. She liked it. She likes it. I cut it off. I guess it was like 2 Easters ago. My kids were just in the,
Really?
walking by, and we're like, "Hey, why don't you cut off your beard?" So I was cutting my hair, and so I cut it off and
Like clean shaven?
clean shaven.
How long does it take you to grow that thing?
I don't know. It comes back pretty fast, That's why it's there, Otherwise, you got to shave all the time.
I tried to grow a beard once. I just looked homeless. I just never felt.
I think most people would say I look homeless too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like at first it was a very it's a good thing because you might be at places that were like coaching events and people wouldn't think you were a coach, so it kind of shielded you from getting any attention. And
I like that. Yeah.
Now it's kind of opposite.
Let's be honest though. Scottie Hazelton without the beard looks like a small town pastor. Yeah.
Sure.
Nice, respectable guy with the beard. You went biker.
Biker.
Yeah, biker. You look like the tough guy now.
Oh, sure, I guess.
But that's what a defensive coordinator should be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Got the.
I just kind of appreciate that they let me keep it wherever you move to. So it's.
I would get on the person who told you to shave that thing. It's like art.
I think my wife would too.
It's art. It's beautiful.
It's art.
You're an outdoors guy. Is that from growing up in Colorado?
I think so. I enjoyed it there. I loved it in college. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you picked Durango too. I mean, you can go four-wheeling or go fishing down San Juan and do. I mean,
that's what's great about Colorado.
Yeah, it was real fun.
There's so many different environments. Different.
Correct.
You got the mountains. You got.
Yeah.
You
can go out east and hunt birds. You can do. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
It's a good spot. It's hard to do now. I mean, it's now your life. Your life is football and go home and whatever the kids are doing. Whatever activity they got going is your hobby now.
Have you done much hunting since you came to Kansas?
No, not at all.
That sucks, man. Oh, let's get Coach Hazelton. Oh, it's pheasant country, man. You get out
I know. I think I might embarrass myself if I went out now.
That's
been a while. I had to go shoot some skeet first to,
You get warmed up for that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
What would your ideal outdoors day be? What is your thing?
Well, me and my wife always joke, really I'd like to, we'd like to retire in East Texas or something like that, someplace where there's, I know whitetail are little deer compared to, muleys and stuff like that where in Colorado. But, you wake up in the morning and go out on your back porch and see deer walking through and maybe shoot one of them and right out in a four-wheeler and, bring it in or wake up in the morning and go out to a little pond and fish for whatever. I mean, I don't care. You can catch sunnies or whatever for all I care and throw them back or keep them at, just, I don't know, just being out there is great, and having a day where you go out and get on a horse and ride around or something, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, I don't even mind, I spent some time in Wyoming when I was in junior high and, I would go swath hay and we had square bales, so you'd bale it up and we'd stack them and I'd still do that, on a, just
you want to retire to a ranch.
Yeah, and just a little one.
Little one, not a full working ranch.
No, just something where I could have some chickens and a few cows and just putz around all day and
horses.
Definitely horses.
Horses are cool, but they're a lot of work.
Yeah.
I got dogs. They don't like to be ridden.
We got a Great Dane, and so
That's pretty close.
My 7-year-old rides him sometimes.
It's pretty close. What got you into a Great Dane? Those are cool dogs.
My niece had it, and she couldn't take care of him anymore. So we're like, definitely, we'll take him. Yeah, he's a well-trained dog. He's good.
Yeah, my buddy Ben Lieber played for the Vikings forever in K-State. He's a Great Dane guy.
Yeah,
he had Great Dane in college. I mean,
that's cool.
It was really cool.
That's cool. When you got like a 120-pound dog, that thing barks too. It's deep now. I like to get one for each of my kids and train them up to be attack dogs, and you can send them to college with them just in case. Because
like personal security.
No doubt.
Oh, okay. Might be a little tough in class, but it's pretty good.
Stay in the apartment or whatever. You go walk them around.
I like it.
Yeah.
So you come to K-State.
Yep.
Was that an easy decision? I know he started with someone else and then came back around to you, but when it came back around, yeah.
Yeah, it was more like you talk about, we move around a lot. It was more like a family deal. I got my mom's advice too. I talked to the kids, and they were kind of split on the idea. My wife, she's got really good friends that were on the staff up there at Wyoming, and people we'd known for a long time. And so I think every move you make is a tough decision.
Especially when the kids get older. You're getting invested now. You're getting close to high school, and
our oldest still goes back to Jacksonville and sees her friends, and our 12-year-old still wants to go to Laramie all the time. We send her there this summer and stuff like that. When they got breaks, they travel too and go see their friends from wherever in the world they're from. But it becomes that. It becomes more of a family deal. It's a deal that, ultimately the decision comes down to you, but you do get everybody's thoughts and kind of what they think. And, hey, we're moving to a place, and this is what the good and the bad. And, my kids are more like, is there a pool? No. Is it warmer than here? Yeah. Oh, okay, that's good. And it's, those kind of, those are the things that are important to them right now.
Yeah. So you end up here. When you first take a look at the talent you have, what are your thoughts? Because there's some really good players, and there was obviously areas of lacking in depth, and you had to be alarmed at some areas.
Well, you go through and you're unsure. Sometimes like winter work, like we had a workout this morning at 6, and sometimes you can't always tell.
You had a workout at 6 the day after the Super Bowl?
Yeah. They have Super Bowl. And then we watched defensive ends for like the last 2 hours. Watched like 25. It's,
I can't play for you.
That's
for a variety of reasons.
That's all we do. Then we go watch recruiting tape for a long time.
My God.
The guys are in there all there at 6 and running. I think the coaches had a harder time getting up than the players did. But sometimes those will lie to you. Those winter workouts. You see them moving around. You get into there, and sure, you could get concerned like, hey, we look a little short there, or this guy might not be able to transition like you like, or this guy's burst off the edge isn't as good as you. And you're looking for good and bad and flaws and good things and bad things, and you're trying to get a feel for the guys.
Right.
Well, really, once you get to spring ball, that's really when it starts to count, because then you might see a guy that, hey, he looked really good in the gym running around and stuff like, but he's not as good at ball as you thought he was. Yeah, and then you get the opposite. Like this guy, he was okay when he was running around, but that dude's a player. And you get some. So it's that's a little bit like recruiting. There's so many things that are, there's all the rival stuff. Hey, this kid's fight, and sometimes sure. I remember recruiting like Jalen Smith, and you walk in there and watch him do some bags, and you watch and you're like, oh, this kid could. He could go play it. Right. He could start for us at SC right now, But then there's other guys that, well, hey, he's good here, but it kind of lacks here. And those are the guys that you really got to evaluate hard, because sometimes, you might see him in a non-padded thing, and it's not ball.
Right.
There's some attributes you look for: how fast is their burst, what their change direction, all the different measurables and stuff like that. But when it comes to ball, these guys here are ball players. Right. That's something Coach Snyder did very well. Is the guys here, they play hard. They were They were committed to the team. They loved ball. So when you're throwing out bits of information to them, even before we started playing, they were soaking it up, and they had that want to, and so that's the hard part, is it changes. Athletically, you might say, hey, thought we were missing it. Well, then that ends up being okay, and then, well, something else that you thought you were okay at, we're good. So it's hard to judge sometimes wearing shorts and T-shirts.
I would think in recruiting, the temptation to either go one way and get the incredible athlete because I'm a great coach, I can teach him these things, or get the technical kid who might be a lesser athlete that might have a lower ceiling, but he's going to get to that ceiling. I think that'd be a tough balance to figure out what you want to do.
I've heard people talk before. You look at the floor sometimes too. Mm-hmm. If you got a guy that could be here, but his floor, he doesn't fit in your program, and you got a guy that might not have as high of a ceiling, but it's got a guaranteed, which one do you take? And I think that it's a combination. Really. I mean, you need a big group of those guys who have maybe a little bit lower ceiling, but are always going to be program guys. They're going to do things right. They're going to be great special teamers. At worst,
Right.
They're going to work themselves into a spot that they can self-create themselves. You know what I mean? And you got to find that out about them.
And they're willing to be the backup that comes in and suddenly has to perform.
Yeah, or they're never going to get beat out
right.
once they get a starting job, because I know that dude's a better athlete than me, but my competitiveness will not allow me to ever get beat out.
Right.
And they're always going to be better. You're looking for, sometimes you got guys on your team that you recruit to beat out every time, and they just keep their job because they're the best.
Yeah.
And that's who they are. And that's cool too.
That's my thought on why some programs that get the 5-star guys don't win on the field, because
there's some of that.
They don't have those guys, kind of the spine of the team, the backbone that this is how you got to beat me out. You got to be better than me.
Yeah.
And they've got a bunch of guys that have a really high ceiling, but they also
they may never reach that potential. And that was the good about when we got here. It's not like we got to a program that was lacking in discipline, or lacking in effort, or lacking in guys loving ball. Where other places I've been at, there's times when you question that, like they're all in it for just them, or they're looking for the wrong thing.
That was one of the things when Chris came in that I thought, you can talk about schemes and people get caught up in that, but the type of player Coach Snyder recruited, the demands he put on them in terms of taking care of business and character, just fit so perfectly in with what you guys are trying to do. Yep. Even if the schemes were different and you asked them to do different things football-wise, they would buy in because we've had these demands on us.
Yeah, I mean they were worked. I mean they were worked, and they love ball. And when you get a kid with high effort, that's got good character, and they love ball, it's really easy to coach them.
Right.
Sure. You throw a deep ball up, and I'm a linebacker one-on-one or something. I'm going to lose that battle every once in a while if I'm not the extreme athlete or whatever. But at least they're going to be there to battle the ball. And if they lose it, okay, they lost it, but they did everything right. I mean, you could get a kid that can cover everybody in the world, and he might not know what he's doing or have the discipline to do right or get the check or move or whatever.
Right.
And then that dude's wide open. You see a lot of that too.
In your linebackers, I thought particularly Daquan Patton made a lot of progress this year.
Yeah,
he was the guy that looks the role at any level he wants to play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you walk into an NFL locker room today and people go, that guy looks like a football player.
Yeah,
always looked the role, but he wasn't always. He didn't make the right reads at times. He didn't flow the right ways. And then by season's end, the interception he had, he dived back in. It was against Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I said, holy crap, Daquan Patton read that before the snap of the ball.
Yeah. No, I think that, and I think that that's kind of the way, it takes a while to learn a new scheme. I mean, let's be real. I mean, we were asking these kids to do stuff that was similar, but is different.
It was different.
It's different. And so.
It was a more aggressive posture.
Correct. And everyone has their own system, what they do,
Right.
you know, but, you know, so our system, we just try to bring it in and say, hey, listen, this is who we're going to be hopefully for a long time, and let's learn the system. And it takes a while, you know what I mean? It takes a while, especially to get through, okay, I kind of figured out what I'm supposed to do, and now I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to do what you're asking me to do. And then, okay, I'm starting to feel comfortable with those two. Okay, now all this stuff you've been talking about, like, okay, so if this dude's here, he's going to run a route like that, and I actually start to notice those things, you know, it takes a little while. But as you keep building on it and stacking and talking about, you know, different guys
And
that
they're
pick it
just
up
doing
in
it.
levels,
They're
and
just
they're starting to
reacting.
do it. Yeah, you hope that they can keep rolling.
Let's roll back a little bit further. You're in spring, and
Yeah.
you got a really special linebacker, Justin Hughes.
Yeah, he's a smart kid.
Great kid.
Yeah.
Blows out that knee.
Yeah.
You had to be thinking, you know what? No. It's horrible for a kid. You've been through the same thing with knees.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I've, you know, it helps. It helps this way. I think that, like, when you look back at your life or my life or all of our lives, and we can look back at things with years of experience, there's reasons why things happen. You know, so you just got to trust that's got a plan for your life, and so when that happens, yeah, you're disappointed, but like it doesn't affect me like it once might have. You know, you're like, listen, this happened. Well, there's a reason. I don't know.
We don't need to know it.
We get him the next year back. That's great, and it helped Eli because Eli played that spot for a whole year and was forced to communicate and do all these things. And now if they're both on the field together, think of the communication we can have next year, and how we, you know, whatever the purpose was, I don't know, you know, but it's, you just got to take it in stride. I mean, it's next man up. That's how football's always been. You know, the dudes you put out there, whatever 11 of them they are, they're your starters. So let's go.
Were you able to, I don't know if counsel was the right word, but talk to them about that kind of thing when it happened? That it's hard to understand this, but you got to find the good in this.
Yeah, I mean, you try to share those things. I don't know that you know, college age guys always hear you when you talk to them, but yeah, you try to bring those things up and you try to stay positive with it all the time. But I don't know that, you know, I don't know that I heard it when it happened to me necessarily, you know, and I don't know that, you know, guys hear different things, and maybe they take a bit, and maybe in 15 years they look back and they'll say, hey, that's why, you know, and hopefully they can get that done.
Yep. Trust me, I'm a big believer in there's a plan. You don't know it, but
yeah, man.
This happens for a reason. Let's figure out why.
Let's roll. Yeah.
Let's go. You had to be pleased with this season. I mean, I know that the numbers weren't always what you wanted, but
sure,
you kept the points manageable for your offense to exceed, and you got teams off the field on third down.
Sure,
that was the most dramatic change in K-State defense, was your success on third down. It really didn't matter that it was 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 6. You got them off the field it turned out to be the second best rate in the country. As a D coordinator, that's got to be really pleasing.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird deal because like 3 years ago I was at a place and we were number 1 in the country in takeaways, you know, and so you think everyone thinks you got the answer how to get takeaways, and really it's just happened to hit that way at that year, you know, and then the next year we're not very good. So when you're good at something and you can lean on that, it's cool, you know, and I think that the guys, I think they enjoy the third down package. I think they really want to work to get to that, and they really want to work to understand the ins and outs of that, and they you know, I mean, they always play hard, but they really work at something like that because it's fun for them.
Well, if you have belief in, I mean, they really believed on third down they were getting the team off the field.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes the other team helped us too. I mean, there's times you look and you say, oh, that's a first down, but then they drop it, and you're like, oh, well, hey, that's great. You know, however we get off the field, I don't care how it is. It's great, yeah. And you know, you get some of those drops back, and you say, oh, you know, maybe we're not as good, but at least they understand the importance. You know, the other part that I think that we really tried to sell was red zone. I know, like, percentages wise, red zone defense were horrible. But if you looked at percentage of field goals or how many touchdowns they scored, that's different, you know. And I think that those 4 points, you know, you add up those 4 points and then you do it again and there's another 4 points and you do it again. There's 12 points. That's the difference between scoring 20 and 32. You know, you can win games at 20, not at 32. Or, I'm not saying Mess can't score. I'm just saying it makes it harder.
Yep.
You know?
I'd love to talk to you about 2020, but we'll have plenty of time to do that down the road. But I need to get to the ending phase of this discussion. Years ago, we started the thing called the overtime on our podcast, and it's when people just started asking us bizarre stuff. And so we started answering. Now the overtime podcast is a separate podcast. But we have 5 questions from our user, KNED, one of our veterans on the board.
Okay.
What kind of evaluation does the old DB coach, Scottie Hazelton, give Chris Kleiman as his DB career went?
I think he did a good job.
You're saying he's a technician?
Oh, no doubt. He's a technical guy that understands how his guys fit into the scheme. The cool thing about working with him was he was a coordinator, so I might come up with an idea that I would say, hey, what if we did this? And he would say, oh, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. And he would say, because this, and you'd say, oh, sweet. But he was also humble enough that if he said the same thing, I might tell him that, oh, that's really stupid too because of this. You know,
it's great to have that.
It was great, yeah.
Smart guys do. Don't tell me I'm stupid if it's stupid.
Yeah.
First of all, before I get asked this actual question, do you like the nickname Skyhawks? It's a weird nickname. It's a weird.
It's a weird nickname. It's fine.
Do you know the Fort Lewis Skyhawks fight song?
No. No.
I'm almost happy you don't.
Yeah. It changed. You know, the Raiders Sky. I don't know. It kind of. I don't know. I don't even know if there is one.
That's sad.
Yeah, I'm sure there is, but you know, it changed in the kind of when I was playing there. So it's.
Have you reached the summit of any of the Colorado 14ers, the 14,000 foot?
Yeah, I've been hiked up Pikes Peak before. Yeah.
Do you like that?
Love it.
Does the knee hold up doing that?
Not as good as it once did, but walking, hiking, those kind of things, going upstairs is easy. Downstairs, jogging, pounding, those things are the ones that hurt.
That's what I got a horrible knee, and it's going down.
Yeah, down the stairs.
It's that moment of suspension over when your weights are.
Yeah. So we started at 6 a.m. and hiked to the top of Pikes Peak and then drove a car back down. Hitched a ride on one of the people who ride up.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a great day.
I've done 14s before, but it's always been in the car both ways. It's less athletic, but
I just don't like carrying water. That's the thing. You start off and you're walking, and you're like, "Geez, do I need all this water?" And by the end of the day, you're searching for water.
Should have brought more water.
Yeah.
Should the Jacksonville Jaguars move to London?
Definitely not.
Is that just weird? Having a team in London?
That'd be weird. I don't even
know how you manage it.
You'd have to have a place in the United States because. You know, I mean, taxes over there is different. It's a different deal. All the guys who went over there and played have to pay a different tax rate.
I feel like that's the thing the owners sit around and think, wouldn't that be neat? And then when it's their team, they're like, no.
I think that the Jags make a lot of money off of playing over there almost every year. You know, because London doesn't have a team. They don't understand, you know, but they sell a lot of gear.
I'm fine. If they want to go play a game or two, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. Let's wrap this up with this. What's the strangest thing that happened to you on an outdoors adventure? Ever had any encounters or weirdness or, Lord, I'm going to die out here?
Yeah, I don't know. I once spent we used to go hang out, and there's a place that we'd like to go camping in the kind of somewhere between Durango and Cortez, Colorado, that was up in the mountains, and we'd ride up in a 4-wheeled trail and get out and walk for a long way, and there was a cave. Ooh. And it was like a sandstone cave, and the water would run down, and it made a huge cave that you could pitch tent in, and it was like being on a beach. It was really cool, and you go shoot stuff around there and go fishing and stuff. And they actually found out later that, you know, we always used to make fun. There's like these holes in the walls and stuff. And they found out it was an old like Indian, like, I don't know, place where they used to live in the cliffs, like part of the cliff dwellings and stuff like that. So like, can't go there anymore. It's like
now it's historic.
Yeah, now it's like a historic place.
Technically, isn't everything historic?
I think so.
Come on.
I'm sure something happened in the river that we used to fish in too.
I know, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, they found mammoth bones out here by town. So I can't walk on this land because a mammoth did? Come on, man. That doesn't make sense. Coach, I appreciate it very much. It's been fun.
Thanks for having me.
That's going to do it for this week's Power Chat with Scottie Hazelton. We'll be back with another Power Chat real soon at GoPowerCat.com.